Yeah. Okay, hey everybody. My name is Mosh. My song is McQueen on the compilation, and we're going to do a little bit of a tutorial for you. So I've been doing this like 4 times now because I keep on going too long. I'll try to keep it sort of brief, under 10 minutes. And yeah, I'll do some tips and tricks for you guys. So let's just do a little sample to begin with. Okay, cool. So that's kind of the track. If you listen to the compilation, you probably heard it already. Let's get kind of right to it. So first thing I'm going to start out with is workflow, because this is a big problem I hear a lot of producers having, is your kind of your writer's block. So when you're sitting there, you finally have a couple hours in front of your DAW of choice, and you just don't know what to do. So I highly recommend sitting down and centralizing all of your ideas. What do you want to do? Make it solid, make it obvious to yourself what you're trying to achieve. Don't just sit there and say I want to write a good song. Everybody does. But what sort of song do you want to write? What's the kind of song that you yourself, with all your preferences and all of your things you love, what would you write? So in my case, I was kind of just screwing around in Ableton, and I ended up doing like 4 versions of this song that were just all like not what I wanted. One of them like had acoustic guitar and sounded like folky. They were all bad. So I sat down. I was like, okay, what do I need here? And I wrote down my my favorite movies, my favorite scenes, my favorite painters, my favorite books, smells, whatever. And I said, how am I going to translate that into a song? So in my case, I'm a big fan of David Fincher's work, in particular The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Let's check out the intro. So, you've got this really dark imagery, oil and machines and skin and whatever. So sitting there, and I was like, I want to make a song that sounds like that looks, and that's a good way to remain unique. So you take all your things, whatever they might be. In my case, it was Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, cyberpunk, and like cars in general, the like sort of thrill of driving around at night. And I wanted to turn that into a track. So I'm going to show you little things that I did to make that happen. Maybe it'll give you ideas for stuff you can do. So I wanted that darkness, I wanted that space. So right at the beginning, we've got this guy. And that big reverb, you got that huge decay time, like 7 seconds. That's how you give it that ominous feeling. Without that, you've got this really, simple instrument that a lot of people would probably bypass. It just sounds really like a toy or something. So just, you change it up. Now what do we got? Boom. So now I've accomplished sort of a darkness, the feeling of shadows, an empty city, if you will, whatever. These are things that, work in my mind and hopefully evoke that kind of imagery in other people. But if it works for you, it probably works for everybody else, unless you're trying to convince yourself that it does that for you. So let's look at another one. How do we create the oil? Or, even like sort of a rubbery tire. Get a little bit of grit. I think I ran that through like some sort of amp, and then like turned the like dryness like all the way down, save for a little bit. But yeah, the way that kind of glides up to the other notes, it implies a sort of sticky feeling. Yeah, so that kind of accomplished that. One last example, how do we get a machine? So I wanted to do this big bass slap, that kind of gritty steel feeling. Got it called crunch over here. And it's got that bounce, implying the movement as a machine would, really sort of evenly spaced, mechanical sounding. And then, so you've got all those elements. Now let's see how they fit together. Do we accomplish what we were trying to accomplish? Let's check it out. Some would say yes, some would say no. I said yes, and it kind of worked out for me. So, yeah, I do something like that. I don't mean to kind of toot my own horn, but I found this workflow that really works for me. I rarely ever get writer's block anymore because, like, I know exactly the scene from a movie or the painting that I want to recreate or something like that. How much time do we got going here? Let's check it out. Damn, already 5 minutes in. Okay. What else can we look at? So let's just look into some just quick tips then. So I recommend when you're going MIDI in, try recording it straight into audio as well. So we've got this guy. Now that's a MIDI note. And what if we wanted audio? So something we could reverse, something we could, you know, throw up and down, detune, all of that. So you can record it actually directly in Ableton, like from track to track. I don't know if you know how to do that, but you go here, you go MIDI from, you choose the instrument. So in this case, it's not set up like that right now because I've got the audio track sitting there, but you go MIDI from, monitor in, record, and then as you record it, it'll record like in real time below. And then you can chop it up and do whatever you want. So in my case, I have one version of it where it's just reversed. And then I have another version that's actually reversed and pitched up. So that kind of does a good job of replacing the white noise. I really hate the kind of stereotypical whoosh. I prefer to get a little creative. So let the instruments do the suspense for you. Don't force it with like white noise, really. You can do it with other stuff, and sometimes white noise works, don't get me wrong. None of this is like letter of the law, but for me, I prefer to get a little creative. Like another example, I'll use reverb rather than a secondary instrument. So we have this guy, it reverbs all the way out and then it reverbs back in, and you've got it kind of leading into a new part. So that's kind of a cool idea you can do too. Sebastian of Ed Banger does that a lot. Reverb an instrument out and reverb it back in to kick into the next sort of little climax part. Another quick tip, don't be afraid to layer a clap and a snare. A lot of people will do one or the other, but you can definitely do both. So here we've got just the snare. It's a snare with obscene EQ boost. It's clipping so badly. This is an old project file, my friends. Yeah, despite all of the praise I get for the high fidelity, pretty not good, actually. So now let's check out the clap. Basic clap, just a clap. And then when you layer them both, you kind of get the best of both worlds. So you get the dance with the clap and the rock and roll with the snare. It's got a really kind of just edgy vibe, so when you listen to it in context, and the way I kind of spaced this one out a little bit too, do that. Don't be afraid to grid everything. Just remove it off the grid. You get a little more gangster with your sounds. And I like that. It adds a little, it sounds a little better than if you just do this. I don't know if you'll be able to hear the difference, but I sure do. Oh yeah, you can totally hear the difference. Yeah, you can barely hear it otherwise. It's a cool way to kind of distinguish sounds. We're just about running out of time. You know, that's probably more or less good. This isn't so much a tutorial for this song and just kind of how I work, but yeah, I encourage you to lay out all the things that you like, turn it into a song, and then see how it all comes together. Neat. So I think we'll call that a day at almost 10 minutes. We'll wrap this up. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you liked the compilation.